Good day, and welcome to the Impact Investing Show with your host, Samuel Ikhinmwin, Ikhinmwin. Guys, I hope you have had a fantastic week. It's about that time. It's Saturday. I've heard all the songs about Friday, but guys, why don't we have a song for it Saturday? Guys, it is the Impact Show. We're on episode 53. I don't know if you can believe it, but I can. Guys, last week we had a powerful show. We had two of my good friends who came on as guests. Listen, guys, let me say this. If you are watching right now and you were with us last week, let us know with one word how you found last week's show. Last week was our anniversary show, episode 52. And let me tell you, guys, I thought it was awesome. We had Dana Byfield on the show, breaking down all things in terms of concept and business strategy in terms of moving forward. And we had my man Paul Roberts on the show, breaking down the aspects of finance and how we can actually use property finance in order to move to the whole next level in our property journeys. Guys, first and foremost, let me know on an administrative tip. Can you hear me properly? Can you see me properly? Because I am about to go in. We got the live show today, and I'm telling you, this live show is going to be extremely valuable for you guys. Now, first and foremost, a great big thank you to all of those who have already hit that like button to show that you are getting value and appreciate the content that we are putting out here for you on this show. Now, side by side with that, for those of you who haven't hit the like button, it's okay. It's okay. There's no pressure. But if you do get value at any point throughout tonight's show, what we'd love for you to do is to let us know. And you can do that very simply just by hitting that like button or writing a comment in the chat so we know that you like this content. Now, today, we're going to be doing a few things on episode 53. Guys, this is our first episode being 1 year old. Guys, the show must go on. I had a few people reach out to me in the week and basically ask me, Samuel, are you going to keep doing the show? You've hit a year now. You know, you can just stop. You can wrap it up. You don't need to keep going. Are you going to keep doing the show? And I thought to myself, you know what? We are definitely going to keep doing the show. You know, for how long? I don't know. You guys tell me. How long do you want us to keep doing the show? Should we stop the show next week? Should next week, episode 54, be our last episode, or should we go on and on? Should we go to episode 100, 300, 3000? You let me know, guys, okay? Because as I said when we started this show is not for me. This show is for you. This show is for us. It's for a community of people to be able to come together in order to help one another understand how they can move further faster in their property investing journey. That's what we want to do, and that's why we're here, guys. So let us help you to do that by being comfortable enough to throw your questions, whatever questions you may have on any of these episodes, into the live chat. But side by side with that, every now and then, you guys know we open up the phone line. So do the same. Call in. Okay, call in and let us know what you're going through. Let us know the property problems and challenges that you are facing, and let us see if we can help you move further faster in your property investing journey. I got Mrs. Ikhinmwin in the chat. She's saying good evening to Callum Baloka. I got my man Callum Baloka in the chat. He says good evening to all. And I got Mrs. Ikhinmwin who says good evening to all. And from your host, Samuel Ikhinmwin, guys, I'm telling you, it's a great evening. Ooh, I feel a bit like a radio presenter today. I don't know why. I don't know if it's that buttery smooth look we got in here with the lights and the little blue effect lights at the back. I don't know what it is. But guys, I am ready to jump in. Guys, let me say this. If you are watching right now and you haven't said hi in the comments, feel free to say hi. Just throw a little hi in the chat. Let us know that you're with us. And if you're one of those people who've already got value from the show, feel free to hit that like button. Now let's jump in. First and foremost, let me welcome you to the Impact Investing Show. This is the place where you get creative property investing on demand. If you are looking for new creative ways to invest in property, new creative ways to make things happen, new creative ways to do the deal, this is the place for you. Now, this is episode 53, and some of you who are brand new might be asking yourself, why are we actually here? I'm going to tell you exactly that. Last year in March, there was a pandemic announced, and as a result, people were in lockdown. And the moment that started, at that time, I was hosting one of the largest property networking events in the whole of the UK, the Canary Wharf Property Investors Network meeting. And whilst hosting that meeting, I would usually have, at the end of each meeting, with over 100 people attending the meeting on a monthly basis, I'd have 30 people, 40 people lining up at the end of the meeting saying, Samuel, can you help me with this? Samuel, can you help me with that? Samuel, this is what I'm going through in my property challenges, in my property journey, etc., etc. And when the lockdown hit, what happened is a lot of those questions, a lot of those requests actually transitioned into text messages, into Facebook messages, into Messenger messages, into WhatsApp messages, into a whole bunch, a myriad of messages that I was not even getting before. Now, one of the challenges with that, one of the big challenges with that was the simple fact that when you're getting messages bombarded at you, messages left, right, center, you want to help, but you may not even know how to help. And that was my challenge. My challenge was, how do I help in a predicament where I know I want to help, but there's just too many people reaching out, too many people asking, too many people making the request. And I said to myself, you know what, there's a way we can make this happen. I know there's a way we can make this happen. And I said to my team, guys, what can we do to make this happen? How can we help all of these people that are asking for help as it pertains to their property investing journey? The people that were challenged with tenants just getting up and moving out because they didn't need their rooms anymore. The people that were challenged with tenants who were no longer paying rent for some reason that nobody actually knew. So these were the kind of questions that were coming to me. Samuel, what strategy should I use now? I can't do service apartments because service apartments kind of went to pot. And having all of these people reach out to me, my team said something powerful. They said, Samuel, I know what we can do. All you need to do is make yourself available on a regular basis in order to show people how they can strategize through the storm. And thus, the strategy in the storm was actually born. And, you know, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, probably about to episode 30 of the Impact Show was our series on the strategy in the storm, helping you strategize through the storm of the property challenges you may have been facing. And the reason we were doing that is because I just didn't want people to have to suffer and not have any strategies. Some of the strategies that we implemented a year ago allowed us to maintain a 98% occupancy of our tenants in our HMO properties, whilst most people were going through a lockdown, whilst most people were going through a pandemic, whilst most people had no idea how they were going to make things work. And guys, I'm telling you, I'm not saying this to gloat. I'm saying this to share with you that these insights that we were able to share with you guys, with viewers, with people that tuned in, have been priceless. They've helped people to be able to go from a standing start in many cases to a situation where they can actually now move forward in their property journey, where they can actually now achieve exactly what they're trying to achieve in their property journey and continue to get property investing success. And guys, this is what we're about. This is who we are. This is why we show up on a regular basis, because we want to support you to get your own dose of creative property investing on demand. So what makes episode 53 different? Well, this is our first episode since we're actually 1 year old. So I thought I was going to do something a little bit different on today's show. And what I decided to do is basically just open it all up. Okay, I want to just take questions, guys. That's all we're going to be doing on this show. I'm just going to take questions. I'm going to allow you to use me as a sounding board throughout this whole episode. So it's a little bit nicer that we came on a little bit later. That's part of the reason I wanted to do today's show a little bit later, because I also thought that if I allowed you guys to use me as a sounding board, it makes more sense maybe to run the show a little bit later, where potentially a few more or a lot more of people can get onto the show and fire their questions. So let me do this. Let me say this, because I think this is only fair. I think this is only nice, you know. You should give right now, okay? And this is how you're going to give right now. You're going to hit the share button, okay? You can take the link to this video, impactproperties.co.uk/let's go live. I'll say that again. That's impactproperties.co.uk/let's go live. Or if you're in the YouTube world, you can actually see the link by the share button. You're going to hit that share button. You're going to hit copy link, and you're going to share that with one person. That's all I'm asking you to do. Share this with one person. Why? So that the questions that come through on today's show can be not only relevant to you, but also relevant to someone else. Is that fair? Let me know in the chat if that's fair. If that's fair, let me just see the word fair in the chat. We spell fair F-A-I-R. No, F-A-R-E. F-A-R-E. That's right. Okay, English lesson. Mrs. Ikhinmwin, let me know if I'm correct, okay? The fare we're talking about is F-A-R-E. Are they paying the fare? Or are we just being fair? Now, guys, this is what I want you to do. I want you to share this video with one person right now. And as you share this video with one person right now, what you're going to do is create the opportunity for them to join us live and them to be able to ask their questions also. Now, I'm going to say this because I want to be very, very transparent about this, okay? If you are watching on a replay, if you're tuned in and you're watching this on a replay, do the same thing. Still share. Why are you going to share if you're watching this on a replay? Because if you are watching on a replay, you're going to share, so the value that's shared in this video goes to at least one of your contacts. I got also Ikhinmwin in the chat who says evening or good evening to you, sir. Also, thank you for joining us on this live stream. So guys, listen, that's what I want you to do. I just want you to copy the link. Okay. Oh my gosh, I love it. Kalam Baloka in the chat, he says shared and liked. Guys, come on, there's no more value than that unless you haven't subscribed. So if you need to subscribe and do what you got to do. But if you have subscribed already, then you need to get on track with exactly what my man Callum Baloka has just said he's done, which is to share and to like. So like I said, one more time, okay, if you're getting value from this, feel free to hit like. I'm seeing the likes go up right now, guys. I appreciate you. But Mrs. Ikhinmwin has said in the chat, be fair, F-A-I-R. Pay your fares, F-A-R-E-S. Also, just to say, the visuals are really buttery smooth. Oh my gosh, I don't know if it's the haircut or what. But guys, maybe you should go see my barber. Anyway, let's keep going on. Now, listen, why am I plugging my barber? I'm plugging my barber because I give value. I give honor where honor's due. That's all it is. All right, so guys, let's make this happen. And no, I don't think it's the barber that's made this stream buttery smooth. It's not the barber. It's just the setup, guys. It's just the setup. We're getting better at what we do. We want to be better at what we do so we can give you even more value. So let me know in the chat. Is it fair? Am I being fair? Okay, F-A-I-R. Mrs. Ikhinmwin says, am I being fair? If I'm being fair, I got my man G Wee in the chat. He says, hi, great to have you on tonight's show, G Wee. Also, guys, let me know if I'm being fair. Tonight's show is episode 53, the first episode since our anniversary episode last week, where we hit 1 year of live streaming every single week. Guys, you know what commitment that takes? Every single week to bring you creative property investing on demand. So today's show, okay, is just an open Q&A. You're going to ask me questions. I'm going to be your sounding board. I'm going to love on you with my answers, and you are going to move forward in your property investing journey. That's how we're doing tonight's show. So all I ask you to do is one thing: hit the share button. Share this video with one person who you think may come along to the show and ask some rich questions. And if you're watching on the replay, you're going to share this video with one person who you think really wants to move forward in their property investing journey, and by getting some good quality answers about property investing, they are going to be able to do exactly that. So let's make that happen. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to do that. I'm going to jump into the chat, see if anything's popping off in the chat that I haven't seen already. As I mentioned a moment ago, I got my man in the chat, G Wee. He says hi. I got Mrs. Ikhinmwin giving me the quick English lesson around what's fair and what's fair. You know what it is. But guys, some of you should pay the fare in order for us to be fair. But you know what I'm talking about. I'm just joking with you guys. We got Callum Baloka who says he shared the video and liked the video. So let's make this happen, guys. All I'm going to ask you to do, make that quick transition. Share this video with one person. If you're one of those people like me, you're kind of private. You don't want to share this with too many people. You don't want to let people know what you're up to at 9 p.m. at night. Okay, I get it. I understand. All you need to do is maybe share it with your spouse. Maybe share it with some significant others. Maybe share it with some of your bros. You might have a bro, a broski. Have you heard the terminology of today? You might have a broski that you're like, you know what, let me just share it with him because he needs to hear this stuff. And straight after you guys do that, I just want you to let me know in the chat, shared, okay? And the moment you said shared, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up for questions. Now, listen, if you've already shared like my man Callum Baloka and you got questions, just let those questions start coming in. Ask your questions. Let the questions start coming into the chat so we can get straight into that. Guys, I'm telling you, tonight's show, if you allow it to be for you, is going to be extremely powerful. Now, listen, if you are watching this content, if you are with us, whether live or on a replay, and you have not said hi in the live chat, that way, and you haven't said hi in the live chat, nor have you gone out of your way to say hi in the comments, guys, say hi. It's just common courtesy. I was raised by my dad to say good evening, good morning, good afternoon when I greet somebody. So guys, let's do the same. I know we're on the internet, but you can still do the same. You can still say, hi Samuel, watching your video and got some value. Or hi Samuel, watching your video and I don't really like it. Guys, that's okay as well. All right. Now, if you do not like this video, there is also a thumbs down, a dislike button. Let me give you some advice. Hit it twice to show you really dislike the video. Hit the dislike button twice. I give you permission, okay? But if you're one of those people who are getting value, then hit the like button. Let the like button know you're its friend, okay? And that's how we do this YouTube thing in order for us to move further faster as it pertains to property and all other things associated. Now, I got likes just coming in, guys. I appreciate you guys. You know the love is here. The love is definitely here. Hit that like button if you haven't. Hit that subscribe. Press that bell. you know what to do. So let's jump in. We got Callum Beloka, who started us off with a great question. So we're going to jump into that question. Guys, I've said it already. If you haven't hit share, hit that share button. Share with one person, okay? You don't have to share the YouTube way. You can share your own way. I'm not interested in the YouTube algorithm tonight. I'm interested in your algorithm tonight, your property algorithm. I want to hack your property algorithm and help you move further faster in your property investing journey. So in order for me to do that, I can't be thinking about the YouTube algorithm right now. I've got to be thinking about your algorithm. So if you don't want to use the share button on YouTube, that's fine. Use your own share button. Just copy and paste the link and send it to someone and tell them you better get on this show because Samuel's going to be giving it for real. Now, let's jump straight in. I'm going to read our show disclaimer. Okay. It says all information provided and results given are exemplary. Each person's results may vary or differ. Results are based on consistent implementation of strategies, and we advise that you always seek legal and financial advice from a qualified professional. Hashtag, if you're watching on replay, try rewind that and play that on double speed. All right, now let's jump straight in. I got my man Callum Beloka in the chat. He throws in our first question. And guys, look, if you got questions, throw your questions in. Don't be timid. Don't be shy. I don't care how advanced you are. I don't care if you got 148 properties and you're still trying to work out one thing. Ask your question. As I usually say on the Impact Show, there is no question too big and no question too small. Let's do this. Callum Beloka says in the chat, he is a beginner to property investment and property management. Okay, so some key terms already. He has registered a limited company and opened a company business bank account. His question is, what should he do next? Okay, so this is a powerful question. Okay, I got my man G in the chat. He says, liked and shared, bro. Thank you, Gavin. We appreciate you. Keep doing your thing, bro. We appreciate your support. So this is a powerful question. Okay, this is a very, very powerful question. And the reason it's a powerful question is because so many people in the world, in the property world, are asking themselves this question right now. Okay, so many people in the property world, they might not have even started a company. But even though they haven't started a company, there are so many people in the property world asking themselves this question right now. So let me jump into it. The question is, I'm a beginner in property. Okay, I'm new to property investment. I'm even new to property management. I've already registered a company. I've got my business bank account. But the question is, what do I do next? And look, the answer starts in this question with it depends. Okay. And this is not me copying out. This is me giving you context. And you guys know me. I'm Mr. Value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you even more value, even though the reality of this question depends. Now, if you're the kind of person who's out here who's going to be doing strategies like rent to rent, a strategy where you do not own the property, but through means of creative control, okay, you're going to be able to generate revenue on a month-to-month basis from a property you don't even own. And for some of you who don't know what rent-to-rent is, that's okay. I can explain it in a very simple terms. Rent-to-rent is the process of taking on a property through means of renting it in order for you to now rent it to another parties, or another organization. So I'll give you an example. I have a specific 6-bedroom HMO who the majority of the tenants who ended up moving in there are nurses from a specific hospital. That company, okay, not the nurses, the company pays me to house their nurses in that house. Okay, so I'm not depending on, is this nurse going to keep her job, because I'm getting this rent every single month from a company, from an organization. Okay, now let's go down. If you're getting into something like rent to rent, okay, I'm going to make this very clear for you. If you're getting into something like rent to rent, what you should be doing, okay, and I hope you got your pens, hope you got your papers, hope you got your iPads and notepads, because if you're someone who's serious about trying to create some cash, some collateral, you're going to need to be taking notes, okay? So let's jump into this. So now, if you're doing a strategy such as rent to rent, what you need to understand is that the strategy of rent to rent is all about the management of property. So because it's all about the management of property, what you need to be able to actually do is be registered appropriately to manage property. So what do you need? Well, one thing you're going to need is insurance. Okay, and a lot of people don't talk about insurance when it comes to property. A lot of people run away from that conversation. But let me tell you something, you need to get the right insurance. It's very, very important. Public liability insurance. Okay, professional indemnity insurance. Why? Because you're a businessman, so you've got to do business, man or woman. Hope you're with me today. But guys, I hope you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You need to go out of your way and get an appropriate amount of insurance cover. Why? Why do you need to do that? Let me tell you why you need to do that. If you take over a property on a rent-to-rent basis, you're controlling this property through a contractual agreement that you are the renter of this property or the head renter of the property. Now you take over this property. Straight after you take over this property, you now rent this property out, let's say to 5 or 6 different tenants, different end users who are now using that property on a day-to-day basis for their living circumstances. Now, if one of those tenants on one of those days walks out of the house and trips at the front door because there's a slab of pavement that was wrongly aligned, or if one of those tenants inside of the house has an accident, in some cases, what that tenant will specifically do is go out of their way, okay, and do something very, very interesting. They might make a claim. They might actually say, you know what you did as a managing agent was not take care of this property appropriately, and as a result, I had an accident. So therefore, you are liable. And if that happens and you don't have appropriate insurance, you don't have public liability, you don't have professional indemnity, then you, my friend, are not covered. And this is something we should all be thinking about. Listen, guys, let me say this again. If you haven't hit that like button, feel free to hit the like button. Side by side with that, press the bell notification and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with every single thing we do on this channel. And guys, I said it already. If you haven't shared, share the content, guys. Share the content. Let someone else be able to come on here and ask questions just like you will be freely able to ask questions on tonight's show. All right. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. The first thing you should think about is the insurance you may need. Now, let me tell you something. People think insurance is expensive. Insurance in businesses is usually not as expensive as you would think. Okay. So think about insurance. Okay. If you're interested in sorting out some insurance for your business, speak to me. I can connect you with people that I use, brokers I speak to in terms of professional indemnity and also public liability. That's the first thing. Now, let's go further. Where else or what else should you be looking at? Another thing you should be looking at is being a part of a professional body, okay? And specifically when I'm talking about a professional body in this light, I'm talking about the ombudsman schemes or one of the ombudsman schemes, okay? Now, some of you, again, may have never even heard about this. You may be thinking to yourself, what is Samuel talking about? Ombudsman scheme? Listen, guys, you need to understand this stuff because it's important, okay? You need to be comfortable with this stuff. It is extremely important. Okay. Now, when we're talking about the ombudsman scheme specifically, okay, what we're talking about is a scheme where if somebody has an issue, if somebody's unhappy or upset about how you deal with them in terms of their engagement with you as a business, the ombudsman scheme gives them an opportunity to basically request a refund, to basically have what we call litigation or mitigation, to have mediation, to have some kind of recourse, some kind of way that they can follow up with you after your internal complaints procedure is up and running or over and done. Let's go into this. So I'm going to open up the web browser, let you guys have a quick look at exactly what I'm talking about, because these things, like I said, I think they're important. And I think it's important that we as people doing property have a good understanding of the importance of these things. Okay. So for those of you who are at home who are interested potentially in what I'm talking about, what you can do is just quickly go to Google. Okay. And when you go to Google, just type in ombudsman scheme and the word property. Okay. Now, the good thing is there are only, I believe, currently 3 or 2 ombudsman schemes for people in property. The first one is this one, the Property Ombudsman Scheme, TPOS. Okay. The second one is, let's see if we can find it here, PRS, the Property Redress Scheme. Okay. And is there a third one currently active? I think it might be this one, Ombudsman Services. Okay. So for a number of years, there were 3 companies, but I think about 2.5 years ago, roughly 3 years ago, a couple of these companies actually merged and left there being only 2, I believe. Again, but don't quote me on it. So look, let's just jump into it quickly. This is the Property Ombudsman specifically. This is one of the actual companies, but let's read a bit of this in Wikipedia and you get a bit of an idea of exactly what I'm talking about. And guys, listen, I'm just interrupting this to say to you, if you have questions, feel free to throw your questions in. If you're someone who's just tuned in and you didn't know what we were speaking about, the question is in the chat that I'm currently asking. This question is from Callum Beloka, but like I said, there's no question too big, no question too small. This is episode 53 and we're answering only your questions. Yes, I've got news articles to go through like usually on the usual episodes, but guys, what I want to do, because this is our first episode since we turned one, since we've actually streamed for a whole year in a row, I want to actually just open it up and give you guys some value to say thank you for you guys actually showing up on a regular basis throughout that year. So if you have property questions, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter what strategy, feel free to throw them in the chat. And guys, look, if you think that strategy is going to be an issue on this stream, what I want you to understand is I created this resource some time ago. It's called 30 Ways in 30 Days. And I break down in this resource 30 different property strategies you can use in order to generate wealth, generate finance, generate income using property. And look, if you just follow the strategies in here, you'll be able to replace your income very quickly. It basically says 30 ways in 30 days, multiple ways to generate revenue using property. And that resource is all about opening up your mind to understand there are more than one way to skin a cat. So I'll read a bit of this. And again, for those of you who haven't hit share this video with someone who may have property questions. And if you're watching on a replay, as I mentioned earlier, share this video with someone who you think needs some property answers. So let's go in. This is Wikipedia, the Property Ombudsman. It says the Property Ombudsman scheme is an ombudsman in the United Kingdom. It has been providing consumers and property agents with an alternative dispute resolution service since 1990. The scheme was underpinned by the statute in 2007, estate agents, and 2014, letting and managing agents, and approved by the UK government to help consumers settle their disputes with property businesses such as estate agents, letting agents, and property management agents. So if you're someone who's doing strategies like I mentioned a moment ago, like rent to rent, strategies where you're controlling a property and therefore you have a management obligation over the property. And look, hello somebody, let me say this because some people don't know this. If you are doing lease options, okay, some people are doing the strategy of lease options and do not understand that in every lease option contract you should also have a managing agent contract. Okay, that should be a legal requirement, but many people don't understand this because many people have never done lease options properly, and many solicitors have not even done lease options properly. So as a result, they don't understand there should be a management agreement within the suite of agreements you put together in order to do a lease option. Now, why is this important? Well, the reason it's important is because if you have a management agreement in place when you take on a lease option, or if you have a management agreement in place when you take on a rent to rent property, you should understand that you should be registered with an ombudsman. And all that means is if somebody is unhappy about your service and they come to you and say to you, listen, man, I'm not happy with what you did, you can give them your internal complaints procedure and you can go through that with them. You can say to them, okay, based on this is the case, or based on this is the case. But what I want you to understand is if you exhaust that engagement with them and they still feel like there's more they want to get out of the situation, they still feel like their resolution that you provided was not adequate for them, the next step for them, the next stage for them becomes their ability to jump into the property ombudsman scheme that you are registered for. And look, in some cases, people aren't registered with the property ombudsman scheme, and that's okay. The reason why it's okay is because what that means is the next point of call after your internal situation is basically going to court. So you need to think about that as well, okay? Because you may want to circumvent ending up in court about a matter just by simply saying to yourself, you know what, let me just become part of a redress scheme. Let me just become part of an ombudsman organization. So like I said, the Property Ombudsman is one. I feel like I'm kind of advertising them right now with their logo all big on the screen. Guys, I'm not trying to advertise the Property Ombudsman, but the point I'm making is the Property Ombudsman is one of the ombudsmans available for you to join as a property professional. And another one would be the PRS, which is PRS standing for the Property Redress Scheme. I don't know what their website is. Let's see. I've put the Property Ombudsman on the screen for a bit, so let's see if we can get the PRS on the screen for a bit. Okay, that's not the right website. Let's just make this simple and go back to Google, so to give you guys exactly what we are talking about. Okay, so the PRS also not showing up like that, so let's just write in Okay, property redress scheme. So this is the PRS, quite a colorful website. But again, this organization does exactly the same thing as the Property Ombudsman. There is basically no difference. The only difference might be the price of their packages, but again, exactly the same. Okay, so if you go to info@theprs.co.uk, which is the accurate website, prs.co.uk, you'd be able to find out more about, you can see here, tenancy mediation services, for example, you know, straightforward client money protection. So this organization will help you with these kind of things, and yes, they'll also sell you other items which you may not need necessarily, depending on what you're doing. But the funny thing about that is the PRS website has just also alluded to another thing that you may want to actually get in terms of your organization. So the first thing that we spoke about was you actually getting insurance. The second thing we've just spoken about is you becoming part of an organization just like the PRS, okay, or the Property Ombudsman organization. Very, very important. But two other things I'll share, again, because I don't want to overload you, Mr. Callum Beloka, with all of these answers. I want you to just have enough for you to start going to look at stuff. A third and fourth thing, okay, one of them is client money protection. Now, why would you go down the route of client money protection? Well, if you're doing strategies, okay, such as property sourcing, okay, which is something I teach on quite a lot. Again, those of you who have been students of ours, you may have been on the Sourcing Blueprint online program we have, which is a 7-module deep dive into understanding how to find great property deals. You know, that online program that we actually deliver is all about property sourcing. And as a direct byproduct, one of the key components we talk about is how you set up and become compliant to source property deals. So another thing you might want is client money protection. Now, what does client money protection allow you to do? It allows you to take people's monies, clients, okay, and store that money, and it's protected legally because you are a subscriber to a client money protection service. Okay, so client money protection is quite important, especially if you're interested in some of the things that we have already spoken about. So guys, I want you to be mindful of this because I don't want these things to go over your head. I don't want you to be the kind of person who's thinking to themselves, you know what, I want to go into property, but you know what, the only thing I need to do is start a company or open a company. You know, one of the WhatsApp groups, I think it was WhatsApp, one of the groups I'm in, I saw a comment the other day, earlier today or yesterday, and the comment said something funny. It was like, okay, I've got a couple of properties, I'm thinking of putting those properties into a limited company, and someone just commented, like, I thought quite rudely, but someone just commented like, you can't do it, you've only got 2 properties, buy some more properties and then you can do it. And one of the things that resonated with me as I saw that is people don't realize you can do anything. You can do anything. Whether you should do certain things is a whole nother conversation versus whether you can do certain things. And I think sometimes what we do is we are very quick to answer with whether someone should do something as though they cannot do something. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because on this show right now, it's the same thing. You know, you could share the video, okay? Shameless plug. But for some of us, it'll be like, oh, I'm not going to share the video. I'm just going to watch the content, okay? And that's okay. You don't have to share the video, but it will be good to share the video so other people can ask their questions as well. So Callum Beloka, first thing we've said is you should think about insurance. Second thing we've said is you should think about a scheme such as the Ombudsman scheme. Third thing we've said is you should think about something like client money protection. Here's the fourth thing. Fourth thing I'm going to share, which will wrap up the answer to this question. Then we'll go on to the next question, which I believe I've got from Gavin in the chat. The fourth thing that I think you should look at getting is becoming a member of a professional property association, such as the Residential Landlord Association. Now, the Residential Landlord Association, thank you, whoever it was who just hit that like button really hard. I don't know how hard you smashed that like button, but I felt that. That was interesting. That was weird. Never happened before. But look, anyway, the point I'm making is the Residential Landlord Association, the RLA, okay, no longer exists, okay? And there used to be the NLA, the National Landlord Association. They no longer exist. Why? Because the two of them have merged and become one. So now you have the NRLA. I got KTR in the chat. She says, hiya, KTR, great to have you on the stream. Always a pleasure to see you. Hope you are doing well, and I'm looking forward to your questions too. Today's stream, if you just joined, is a full Q&A. All we're doing is taking questions and giving answers because the fact that this is episode 53, the first episode since we hit 1 year of actually live streaming continuously. So KTR, welcome to the stream. Great to have you on. Now, guys, the fourth thing, as I'm coming back to Callum Beloka's question, the fourth thing that you should focus on if you're new to property, you're just starting, you got your business set up, you got your business bank account, but you don't know what else to do. First thing, go become a part of go get some insurance. Second thing, go put yourself in a predicament where you're part of an ombudsman, okay? Whether it's the PRS who was on the screen a moment ago, let me put them back on the screen so you guys can see. Whether it's the PRS, okay, or the Property Ombudsman, go get yourself be a part of a redress scheme. The third thing you should do after getting insurance, after putting yourself on a PRS scenario, is you should look into client money protection, especially if you want to do side deals like property sourcing, or if you want property sourcing to be a serious part of your business, go and get client money protection. Fourth thing, become a part of a organization, become registered member of a professional association as it pertains to property. Now, there are numerous benefits of becoming a member of a professional property association such as the NRLA. Okay, so like I said, there was the RLA before, which stood for Residential Landlord Association. There was the NLA before, which stood for National Landlords Association. And what's happened is these two organizations have fused together, and now that they're fused together, the company is now called, or the organization is now called, the NRLA, National Residential Landlord Association. Now, if you are a member of the NRLA, you get some benefits that many people do not get. So let me share with you one of those benefits. You get free legal advice, basically close to on demand. And many people do not know the power of that. Okay. So let me give you an example. You might have a tenant, okay, who turns around. Okay, let me give you a real example, because I think, if I give you a real example, you guys will get even more value. Guys, do you want a little story? Okay, let me see some S's in the chat. If you want a story, just let me see the letter S a few times. If I get 3 S's, I'll share with you the story so you guys can understand exactly what I mean when I say some of the benefits that you get with being part of an organization like the NRLA. Okay, and I'm interested in kind of how many people actually want me to tell this short story in order for you guys to get this value. But the reality is there are so many additional benefits for being a part of organizations such as the NRLA, National Residential Landlord Association. So, Callum Beloka, hopefully that answers your question. That's all 4 things that I would say you should start looking at straight away. I got KTR with an S in the chat. I got Ikhinmwin with an S exclamation mark in the chat. I love that. That came in so quick. Ikhinmwin also says, hey all. Hey, back to you, Ikhinmwin. Always a pleasure to have you on the stream. Glad to see you here again, and please do enjoy. If you just joined us, Ikhinmwin, just to let you know, this live stream is a full Q&A. We are answering questions because this is our episode 53. It's our first episode since we just turned 1 last week on our live stream. Now, do I get one more S, guys? Do you want to give me one more S? If I get one more S, they're the 3 S's I asked for, and I'll share with you a very, very simple and short story in order for you to understand the power and the benefits that you get when you actually become a member of the NRLA or the NLA or the RLA as they used to be called. Now, I got FP Comms in the chat. That sounds like FAB. Do NRSA lobby. All right. I'm not 100% sure what you're saying, Nicola, but that's Nicola from FP Comms. Great to have you in the chat as well. Also, awesome to see you connecting with us on tonight's show. Guys, Callum Beloka says thank you, which means he got his question answered. But Callum Beloka has also given me my 3rd S, so I'm going to give you guys a little story time. Now, let me say this as well, just so as you guys get this value, you understand how powerful this actually is, okay? So thank you to the 3 people, Ikhinmwin, KTR, as well as Callum Beloka, who threw the 3 S's in there as well. I want you to understand this because this is very, very important, okay? I spoke about sharing the video, etc., etc. What you need to understand is the value we share in these videos, because they're live streams, a lot of the time after we finish these live streams, YouTube does not push them. Okay, YouTube doesn't tell people, oh, you need to watch this. This is going to help you on your journey. Okay, and if you've seen the content and you've got value, that's great. But let me tell you something. Some people watch this stuff for the hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long you live stream, but they don't actually get all of the nuggets. And this is why sometimes, even though, yes, it's fairly long videos, okay, it's an hour and a half sometimes I'm streaming for live, guys, you should go back over this content sometimes, especially if you ask a question, because if you ask a question and I break it down and you take notes and you go back to the video, I can assure you you'll pick up one more thing that you didn't pick up the first time. So I'm going to encourage you again, hit the share button, share this content with someone else. Let someone else who may have some property questions be able to answer and, get answers from being on this platform and being in this environment for tonight's show. So hopefully you guys are getting value already. If you are getting value, let me see the word value in the chat. Let me see the letter V in the chat. If you are getting value, let me see the word V in the chat to show that you are getting value. And side by side with that, if you haven't hit like, feel free to hit like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel. We'd love to have you as part of the Impact family. And side by side with all of that, why don't you hit the bell notification? Like, hit the bell notification. Really hit the bell notification so you can get up-to-date information every single time we are going live. So it's story time right now. It's story time. Then we jump into our second question. So for story time, I'm going to share with you guys a real quick story. KTR, I see your comment which says value. I appreciate you. Thank you for your comment. All right. So I'm going to share with you guys a quick story about how I've got additional benefits from being a member of the National Residential Landlord Association and different associations like that. Callum Beloka, I see your comment saying value. Thank you ever so much. So here's a quick story. So the first thing is this, okay, and this is a side one. This is a small nugget, but I'll give you this nugget before I go into a more complex one because I want to give you guys extra value. Okay, it's all about over delivering. So let's jump into this. All right. The first one is this: when you send media out, okay, such as for many people who watch this content, you would have sent probably landlord letters out before. And again, if you're someone who's watching this, you've never heard of landlord letters or what they are, feel free to just write in the chat landlord letters ? And I will know that you want me to explain what a landlord letter is, and I'm happy to do so because this is the platform where we do that. Now, landlord letters, okay, when they're sent out, typically a lot of the time have someone's business logo on. Okay, so you're promoting your own business. You're saying, oh, this is the company, Callum Beloka Properties are writing to you in order for you to sell me your property, or Callum Beloka Properties are writing to you in order for you to rent your property out with me. I'll rent your property out, I'll take care of it, I'll give you a 5-year contract, etc., etc., whatever you're going to pitch in your landlord letter. Now, this is what I want you to understand. Your landlord letter becomes more credible when you put in a picture of the logos of the associations you're actually a part of. Because now when this prospective landlord receives your letter, if they're a real professional landlord, they will probably know some of these organizations. They'll probably know the company you've got client money protection with. They might know the company that you're actually got registered with in terms of your redress situation. They might actually know, the organization that you actually have in terms of who you're a member of, in terms of the professional association. So being a part of an organization like the National Landlord Association, National Residential Landlord Association now can give you those added benefits. Okay, so that's the first one. The first one, just a throwaway bit of value. When you start sending out marketing material, utilize the value of the fact that you're a part of this organization, that you're a member of this organization. One of the things they do, if you're accredited, okay, so our organization, we're actually accredited members of the National Residential Landlord Association, and we have been for about 3.5 years. If you're accredited, the great thing about that is they actually send you a media pack. They send you a bunch of things, stickers for your windows, etc., for you to actually show that you're connected to that specific organization. So I want you guys to understand that's one level of value. Let's go even deeper into the specific story. So here's the story. A couple of months ago, there was a specific tenant, which for me, we have in one of our HMOs, kind of like a challenging tenant, okay? Now, does the guy pay on time? Yes, he does. But the problem is he chooses what on time is. So what do I mean by that, okay? No, I don't mean, he pays whenever he wants. It doesn't work like that, but it kind of works like that. So hear me out so you understand the story. So this tenant on his contract should be paying rent every single month on the 8th, okay? I say to the tenant, listen, we're going to be moving that. We'd like you to pay rent every single month on the 1st. He says to me, okay, no problem. Can we meet kind of in the middle? Can I pay rent every month on the 3rd? Okay. We end up discoursing back and forth on this and end up deciding, okay, we'll allow you to pay your rent every month on the 3rd. Okay. So we've had this conversation back and forth, forward, back. Can I pay on the 3rd? Okay, cool. Pay on the 3rd. Okay. A few months goes. Okay, if you haven't hit share, let someone hear the story. So a few months goes, and the guy comes out of nowhere and basically says, listen, he's going through certain challenges. As a direct byproduct, he doesn't want to stop paying his rent. Interesting statement to make. But what he does want to do, okay, is he wants to pay from now on the 22nd of the month. Now, listen, let me tell you something. If you were paying on the 1st, if you were paying on the 3rd, if you were paying on the 8th, that's different to paying on the 22nd, paying on the 23rd. I hope you understand. Most people watching this will understand what I'm talking about. But let's go deeper anyway. So the guy tells me he wants to start paying around the 23rd, and I'm not really feeling that. I'm really, really not feeling that. So I say to him, listen, I don't want you to pay on the 23rd. The 23rd doesn't help us. He's adamant. Listen, bro, I'm paying on the 23rd. That's just the way it's going to be. I can't do anything else. I'm in a situation, bro. Let me pay on the 23rd. Can I pay on the 23rd? So we end up basically saying, okay, cool. We're happy for you to pay on the 23rd. Not happy, but we'll let you pay on the 23rd. Now, hear this part of the situation. He says he's going to pay on the 23rd. I say, well, look, if you're going to pay on the 23rd, let's meet in the middle. How about you pay the difference between the 8th or the 3rd, whenever you've paid last, to the 23rd, okay? Because the moment you put that difference on top, you're now where every tenant in the country is supposed to be. You're paying for your rent in advance. So when you pay on the 23rd, you're paying from the 23rd of April to the 23rd of May. When you pay on the 23rd, you're paying from the 23rd of May to the 23rd of June, for example. So I say to him, listen, guy, why don't you pay in advance? The guy turns around and says he can't pay in advance, okay? I'm like, listen, you got to pay in advance. He's like, listen, I can't pay in advance, okay? So what do you do when you kind of have your back against the wall? You don't really know what else to do. You've kind of tried this, you've kind of tried that, you've kind of said this, you kind of said that. And the guy's adamant, listen, man, I want to pay my rent. Hope you're hearing that comment. I want to pay my rent. So what I'm going to do, because I want to pay my rent, okay, is to actually move to a position where I can pay on the 23rd without paying in advance. Now, you see the problem with this. I'm going to tell you the problem with this. One of the big problems with this, first and foremost, if you're a business owner, you already understand the cash flow aspect of this. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, it's one tenant. It's not detrimental, not life-changing, but it still makes a difference, okay? So firstly, from a business perspective, there's the cash flow element. But let's go deeper. The real issue with this was this. This gentleman's contract states he moves in on the 8th. He's supposed to be paying rent on the 8th. If this guy finds a way to start paying rent on the 23rd and he hasn't paid for the gap between the 8th and the 23rd, this guy now is living in your property from the 8th of each month to the 23rd of each month without paying rent in advance. So he's effectively paying for the last part of each month to live in your property, rather than paying for the month, the majority of the month before he's actually lived in your property. Now look, on a normal month-to-month basis, that might not be an issue for you, but if the guy hands you a 1 month notice to tell you that he's moving out, listen, I'm sure people right now understand how this becomes an issue. I got my man Atinas in the chat. He says, then the whole house asks 1 month rent free, 100%. 1 month rent free, yeah, 100%. Atinas has understood exactly what I'm talking about. That's effectively what the guy is getting if he's paying on the 23rd for a property or for a room that he's staying in from the 8th contractually, okay? So this is what happened. So how do we get additional benefit from being a part of organizations like the NRLA? We phone them up. We get absolutely included legal advice. Now, I'm not going to say free legal advice. I want you to understand it's not free because you're paying to be a member. Okay, so you might pay £100 a year, £200 a year, depending on which scheme you're a member of. But the point is you're paying to be a member. So I don't want to say, oh, it's free. It's not free. Okay, but you get access basically on demand to legal advisors who can tell you the legal ramifications of what you can and what you cannot do. And long story short, it was because I was able to engage with the legal teams on at the time it was the Residential Landlord Association. We was a part of the RLA before they merged. And we basically spoke to one of the legal representatives in the RLA. They basically gave us a whole myriad of things they thought we could do, should do, etc. And we decided on one of those things. It was one of the things they didn't even actually mention, but they said to us that I asked, can we do this? And they were like, yeah, you can actually do that. So what we did is we employed a rent increase. Hello, somebody. Okay. We just put a rent increase on the guy's rent. This was a guy who really, we probably was never going to increase his rent. Like, we didn't have to increase his rent. We did his room to a really good standard. He was paying a really good rent. We didn't need to increase his rent. But he put us in a situation where we realized, you know what, let's increase his rent, because what's the worst going to happen? The worst that's going to happen is he's going to say, I'm moving out. And if he moves out, let me tell you something, that's not a problem, okay? But if he decides to stay, then he's generating us more income. So therefore, we're going to be more open to going through with the inconvenience. All right. So hello, somebody. Someone's just got value there. Feel free to write the word value in the chat. Feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to do all of that YouTube stuff. But I want you to understand, guys, there are times, okay, where being a member of the National Residential Landlord Association are going to pay you in dividends. And this guy has now been on a rent increase for, I think, 1.5 years. And guys, let me tell you something. He's paying us dividends for his inconvenience. Hope somebody's getting value from this. Now, said it before, gonna say it again. If you guys have not shared the video, I want every single person who's on this video to share this video with at least one person. I'm not asking you to share in a group. You can do that if you want to. I won't stop you. But the point is, share this video. Let other people jump onto this video. Let other people be able to ask their questions as well. Let other people be able to get the answers that we're sharing right now. Now, if you're someone who's watching on a replay, you might think, oh, I'm just watching on replay. Samuel, you're not really there right now. Listen, I still want to speak to you if you're watching this on a replay and say, hit this share button, share this with someone who you think needs answers in their property investing journey. One person, one share, okay? Each one teach one. And that's how you can participate in teaching other people, by hitting share on this video. Let's jump back into the questions. I know you guys have been throwing those questions out as I was going through the answers for my man Callum Baloka. Callum Baloka has already said thank you for the answer. Callum Baloka, you're welcome. Do something for me. Please let us know how many stars you give the answer to your question. That's the way we do things on the Impact Show. Give us a star rating in terms of how many stars you would associate with the answer you received to your question. I got KTR in the chat who says value. My man Callum Baloka says value. My man G Wee says value. And we got Nicola from FP Comms. Was this the next question that came in? No, we got a question from Gavin. So I'm going to come back to Gavin's question in a moment. Nicola from FPCom says, sorry, she means this sounds like FSB, Federation of Small Businesses. Yes, very similar to the Federation of Small Business, but this is specifically in the property world. So again, great observation, Nicola. You're absolutely right. She says, does NRLA lobby the government on behalf of landlords? At times, okay, it's very rare, but at times. There's organizations, again, this is a great question, okay? And thank you for your question. Very powerful question. Not many people would ask a question like this. So the NRLA may participate in lobbying the government at times for actions that the landlord really wants to push. But if you're a property person and you're actually looking for an organization, thank you. So if you're looking, again, guys, can we show some appreciation in the chat? Just, I don't know, write the word love or write the word thanks or something, okay? Mrs. Ikhinmwin, guys, Mrs. Ikhinmwin takes care of me for real on a whole nother level, and I appreciate her. She's a big component to how this show actually happens, okay? So I want you guys to understand that and know that you got to give honor where honor's due. Yes, the rest of the Impact team, yes, you guys are all great, but Mrs. Ikhinmwin is a very big cog in this machine working. So Nicola's question from FP Comms. Apologies, guys. Sometimes I get off track when I speak about my wife. I like her that much. Nicola from FP Comms says, does the NRLA lobby the government on behalf of landlords? And the answer to that question is yes, they definitely do. Basically, what they do on occasion is they will support lobbying action, even though they may not lead the lobbying action themselves. One of the organizations, if you're a property person and you want to actually connect with an organization that does do lobbying in a specific, like, progressive way, is Landlord Action. The organization is called Landlord Action. If you're looking for a place to connect with, an organization to connect with, where you can basically say, look, I think we should ask for mortgage tax relief again, or I think whatever it is, there's a whole bunch of things that people are interested in getting back or creating which we didn't have before. Like the stamp duty holiday. I know in one of our episodes previously, we were talking about how during the stamp duty holiday, there's been organizations lobbying for the stamp duty holiday to not end, for it to not be a holiday, for there just to be no stamp duty. Now, obviously, by virtue of the fact that the government has gone without stamp duty for X amount of months, it shows that maybe it is possible for the government to not need stamp duty. But nonetheless, what you have to understand is the government as an organization generates its revenue from many things that potentially it doesn't necessarily need. I want someone to really be mindful of that. So asking them to relinquish one of the things they don't necessarily need may not just happen that easily. But the point I'm making is the Landlord Action is one of the organizations that does lobby quite progressively the government in order for the government to do certain things. So again, guys, if you're looking to be connected with an organization that does stuff like that, that says to the government, listen, you need to do this, you need to do that, Landlord Action is probably one of the organizations that you are looking for. Guys, look, I'm even just thinking right now, I am plugging a whole bunch of organizations right now. These organizations should be paying me. I should be receiving some kind of affiliate commissions for this, but guys, it is well. Okay. I got Nicola from FP Comms who says value. Thank you, Nicola. Okay, I said I was going back to Gavin's question. So let's go and find Gavin's question in the chat. Gavin, my man, he's put his question in there. Do you think commercial to residential is a good strategy? Okay. Going further, where is the best place to find small commercial premises to convert? Beautiful question. Come on. I love it. I got KTR in the chat who says, thanks, Mrs. Ikhinmwin. Thank you, KTR, for showing appreciation. This is what we need in our life. We need love, love, love. All right. Now, look, guys, if we had some more love, we probably wouldn't have half the things that we just faced in 2020. Anyway, let's keep pushing forward. So Gavin asked a powerful question. Gavin's question is, do I think, okay, yes, there it is. So Gavin asked the question, do I think that commercial to residential is a good strategy? Now, let me how do I even put it? Let me ask the question again, just so you guys really get it, because some of you may not even understand what this strategy is. Do I think, what's my view on whether commercial to residential is a good investment strategy? Now, look, for those of you who do not know what commercial to residential is, or C2R as some of us call it, basically that is when you buy or take control of a commercial building being something as big as the supermarket, commercial building being something as small as a barbershop, commercial building being a pub, okay, any commercial entity, okay, and you convert that, you develop it into residential units, okay, so you turn it from, you know, the Asda into 12 houses and a small park, or you turn it into you know, a development complex, a high rise, etc., etc. So that's a commercial to residential strategy. Okay, now, excellent. So the question being asked here by Gavin is, do I believe that commercial to residential is a good strategy? My answer to that is yes, a resounding yes. Now, the reason I answer yes is because I think every strategy is a good strategy. The question is it the right time for that strategy? That's, for me, one of the real powerful questions that people should ask at times, rather than ask, is that a good strategy? Now, let me put it this way. The fact we hear about certain strategies as a byproduct means the strategy must be good enough. Because if it wasn't good enough, you wouldn't hear about it. One or two people would have tried it and never spoken about it again. But when a strategy is actually widely spoken about, when people are running YouTube ads, hello Paul, you know, hello Liam, you know, and there's so many other people. But the point is, when people are actually actively running YouTube ads, Facebook ads, you know, in order to get people on their commercial to residential course, that tells you that the strategy is a good strategy, because they're leveraging that strategy to help you, or to encourage you or convince you to join their training, if that makes sense. Okay. So somebody who understands what I'm talking about, let me know in the chat. But the point I'm making is the strategy must be worth its salt for someone to use that and say, look, come and join my commercial to residential training program, if that makes sense. Okay. But the reality is, the question is it the right time? Because what happens a lot of the time, and I'm speaking from the training world because I think that's quite important, a lot of the time you get these property coaches, property trainers who are telling you to come on a specific strategies training because that specific strategy is what they're using to lure you in. But what you don't understand is it might not be the right time for that strategy to be employed. And if it's not the right time or season in the property cycle or in the market to employ that strategy, it doesn't matter how good the strategy is, it's all going to fall on sand, because the timing, the metrics, some of the variables may not add up at that time. So I'm just throwing that out there for everyone to have some clear understanding and definition around that. But going deeper into the question, Gavin asks some more. He says also, where is the best place to find small commercial premises to convert? Okay, now most people who connected to me, they know my background in terms of property, how I really started. Yes, I was an estate agent, but when I started my own property business, we focused on sourcing properties, finding great property deals, which is what I now teach people how to do on our 7-module online training program, on our 12-month elite coaching program. We focus on teaching people how to find great property deals. And on our 12-month coaching program, we get to spend a year with people. So it's really about strategizing, helping them basically create a foolproof property business, covering all of the bases. Now, in terms of answering the question, and I share all that to say to you, this is why Gavin is asking me this specific question. I say all that to share with you 2 key components in terms of Gavin's question. If you are looking for small residential units, one of the things I would advise you to do is start to look for those small commercial units, which are actually in very heavily residentially populated areas. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, the reason I'm going to ask you to do that or encourage you to do that, and the reason I generally do that, is because these gems are less likely to be found by the mainstream developers, the mainstream people looking for commercial to residential opportunities. Why? The reason why, or part of the reason why, is because for them, hold on a minute, they're looking on high streets. They're looking on high streets predominantly only for commercial opportunities to convert. Sometimes they might be looking at industrial areas. They might be looking at complex areas, but very rarely are those kind of developers actually looking at what we call secondary retail streets or residential streets with the odd commercial premises on. Now, why is that important? Well, the reason it's important because something I talk to you guys about all of the time, which is supply and demand. If there's less demand for secondary street retail, secondary street commercial premises, that means it's going to be easier for you to negotiate discounts on those opportunities. It's going to be easier for you to find those opportunities because less people are looking for them. It's going to be easier for you to secure, and later on, if you're in sourcing, to sell, or later on, if you're in developing, to convert these kind of opportunities. So the first thing is a bit of context. I would advise you, if you're going to do those kind of things, to possibly look at those secondary streets. Now, here's a bit of value. The second thing I wanted to share. How do you find them? One of the great ways to actually find those kind of properties is using software such as Nimbus Maps. Okay. Now, again, Nimbus, here's a little shout out to you guys. Feel free to send me a check in the mail. But the reality is, someone like Nimbus Maps, okay, there's other software out there. Many people use Google Maps. Okay. There's so many sources I know. They're like, yeah, I'm going to use Google Maps. Why? Because it's free. That doesn't make sense to me. Why don't you pay a subscription, £50, £60, £80, £100 a month for something that is superior to Google Maps, something that's made for what you're trying to do, rather than go the free route and have that affect how many sites you can actually find. But nonetheless, the point is, go and find some software that can support you and help you in order for you to find appropriate sites on these secondary streets if you're doing exactly what I've advised, or on the main streets like everyone else is doing if you're doing what I do not advise or what I do not encourage people to do. But the point I'm making is, hit the share button. I'm joking. The point I'm making is, utilize those 2 keys I've just given you, Gavin, and anyone else who's watching this who's interested in commercial to residential opportunities. Go and use software such as Nimbus Maps. Go and use softwares like this. If you want to use stuff like Google Maps, use Google Maps, especially if you're the kind of person who knows your kind of target area. If you're someone who knows, look, I look for properties in this specific area, at this specific location, etc., and this is the kind of thing I'm looking for, then using something free like Google Maps might be okay for you. But if you're someone who looks at a broader span, okay, KTR says in the chat, I saw one today, commercial building that seemed abandoned in a residential area in East London. Thank you, KTR. All KTR is doing right now is throwing salt on the wound. She's saying exactly what I'm talking about. She's throwing logs in the fire. Guys, this is the reality. There are so many secondary streets with commercial buildings on where people, mainstream developers, are never going to find this. This is one of the things I talk about in my presentation known as Sourcing 101, which I used to present at, across the UK, in Wales, etc., wherever people would invite me to do a presentation. Either I would present Sourcing 101 or I'd present Sourcing 202. And in each of those presentations, one of the components I'd break down is, what are mainstream developers looking for? What are the 1 million plus investors looking for? And 9 times out of 10, if you are able to identify what you're looking for, which is slightly different to what they're looking for, you change the market for you, change the game for you, end up with opportunities you never would have had otherwise. So that's Gavin's question answered. Gavin, do something for us. Let us know in the chat, in the live chat, how many stars you would rate the answer you received to your question. Gavin, thank you for your question. Another great question. So thank you, Callum Beloka. Thank you, Gavin. You guys are giving me some fantastic questions. I'm seeing the chat blowing up. Okay, I'm seeing the chat blowing up. I hope, well, I can see that the chat is not just blowing up because of my well wishes to Mrs. Ikhinmwin, but the chat is actually blowing up for a number of things. I think people are throwing questions in there. So that's absolutely awesome. So guys, keep on doing what you're doing. Ecosmio says, hey all to everybody. Okay, I'm a bit back. I've got the SS for story time. I've got Callum Beloka who says thank you. That sounds like okay, cool. I got value V. Okay, we answered Nicola's question from FP Comms already. So again, Nicola, thank you for your question. I got value. Okay, KTR's question. I believe this is the next question. Guys, let me tell you this. Give me a question bump, okay? If I'm not answering your question, if your question is above and I've missed your question, just give me a nudge, okay? Guys, we're here to help each other, okay? So don't let me miss questions by not seeing them, okay? I was at a meeting today, our Bible and breakfast meeting that we do on the third Saturday of every month for families, where a bunch of families come together. And one of the guys said to me, hey Samuel, I was on your stream last week and there was a question I asked but you didn't answer the question. So guys, help us out, please. Don't let me leave questions. One of the things you can do, if you haven't asked a question yet but you intend to ask a question, just put the letter Q before your question. That will help the team, Mrs. Ikhinmwin, myself and other admins in the chat to be able to identify that question very quickly and say, hey Samuel, there's another question in the chat. And again guys, I'm going to say this again because I think it's important. If you haven't hit share on this video, hit the share button. Let someone else, oh my gosh, I love it. Gavin says all value. Hit share on this video. Let someone else get value from this video, guys. Okay, let someone else who may have even more challenging, more complicated, more deeper questions than you have, let them jump on the stream. Let them get value out of the stream. Now guys, look, let me say this. I'm going to take a little intermission and share something with you guys because you might not understand this or know this. Some people might be watching this right now and say to themselves, Samuel, man, how do you do this, bro? How do you just wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm just going to give X amount of value. I'm just going to answer every question they throw at me. I'm just going to be that guy today and just help my community and love on people in that way. And guys, let me tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you something really simple. My dad used to teach me this statement, okay? And when my dad used to say this when I was young, I never really got it the way I get it now. He used to say to me, son, no condition is permanent. And I want you to understand this. No condition is permanent, okay? I'll say it one more time. No condition is permanent, okay? Now, the reason this is important is because as I became more mature, I got older, I started to realize something. I started to realize that there are some people who, I've got a coach, he uses this terminology all the time. He says, Samuel, stay away from the free 99 bunch, okay? He says, Samuel, stay away from the free 99 bunch. What does he mean by free 99? He means free F-R-E-E, okay? Not free the number, free F-R-E-E. Stay away from the people that just want to take value for free. Stay away from the people that just want to ask you questions, get your answers, get all of your knowledge, suck every iota of information out of you, and don't want to actually commit to their journey by investing resources, funds, money, time, opportunities your way. Because guys, you got to think about this. There are some people who would jump on this live stream, they might have deals that we could collaborate on, but they would never call and say, hey Samuel, I've got a deal, and because of all the value you give, you know, I want to share with you. Now, this is why I do this. I do this because of exactly what my dad said, because I understand something implicitly. I understand that I know so much more about property than I can share with you on a 4-hour, 5-hour, 21-hour live stream. This is why January the 1st to January the 21st, we did 21 days of your property investing success. And for absolutely free, I was sharing value with you guys every single day from the top of the year. Why would I do something like that? The reason I would do something like that is because I know even if I gave you all the keys, all the secrets to every single thing I've learned in property. And guys, look, anyone who's ever been on our online training program, you've heard my audio program, which is over 3 hours long. It's called 101 Property Sourcing Secrets. And as I usually do, you know, there's not 101 secrets in there. There's way more. But the point is, in that 3-hour audio training, I tried to get out of my head every single secret that I had learned about property investing and put it in one particular place. And this is just one of the resources that we give to people when they jump on our 7-module online training program. Now, why am I bringing this up? The reason I'm bringing this up is because I've met people, I've got coaching clients, I've got students who have listened to that audio program and gone and got property deals with just one of the secrets out of the over 100 secrets I share on that audio program. But I want you to understand something. After I created that resource, straight after, I realized I hadn't shared everything. Not because I wasn't trying to. Guys, let me tell you, hand on heart, But with all sincerity and honesty, I tried to get every single thing I knew about the real secrets about property that people don't talk about, that people don't share with you. I tried to get every single one of them onto that audio program. And after producing over 101, can't remember how many it was, probably about 125, maybe even more. But after producing all of the secrets out on that program, it was about a day or two later, and I said to myself, you know what, I've got more secrets that I didn't even put on there, that I didn't even think about, that didn't even come to mind. And you see, another thing is, when you go and do another deal and you learn another thing, you end up taking on board potentially sometimes another secret. And this is what I want you guys to understand, exactly what my dad taught me when I was young. I want you to write that down. Let that be in your journal. Let my dad's words of wisdom be words of wisdom for you too. No condition is permanent. So what that means is you can have me for 2 hours. I can answer all of your questions, okay? But you guys will never ever get the depth of working with me until you work with me. So I want you guys to understand that. For those of you who are on the fence, you know what, one day I'm going to work with Samuel, or you know what, I'll work with Samuel in this capacity or that capacity. Guys, what I want you to understand is working with Samuel is different to being on a live stream and just extracting information, asking questions, okay? And some of you know that because some of you have been with me. I know, you know, from some of the people I've seen in the chat, some of you are my students. You have people that have worked with me in different capacities. Some of my coaching clients are also in the chat. So guys, I want you to understand. And guys, let me say this. If you're one of my students or coaching clients, if you've been on any of our training and you've got value, which is beyond what you get from the live stream, let us know in the chat. Because guys, I try to give you my all on these live streams. But the reason I do that is because I know my all tomorrow in a 5-hour setting is way different to my all today in a 2-hour, 1-hour setting. So guys, if you haven't hit share, hit the share, please. Okay, let someone else get this depth of value, okay, which is absolutely free as well. Oh my gosh, boom. My man Gavin in the chat, GWE says, everyone who is serious should listen to the 21 days. It was amazing value. Gavin, thank you ever so much for sharing that. That is just the reality, guys. You know, we don't do this to joke. We don't do this to sell courses. We don't do this to line our pockets as it pertains with training and all of that stuff. Yes, we coach people. Yes, we support people. Yes, we do all of the strategic aspects of things and coaching aspects of things. Yes, we have an online training program. The reason we have all of that is because of our real heart and our real intention, which is to move you further, faster as it pertains to your property investing journey. So let's get back to the Q&A. So KTR asked this powerful question. She says she has a question about the company let contract. She found one on the NRLA website. However, found it missed a lot of clauses necessary for rent to rent. So we have added those. Her question is it okay to do so? Yes, come on, KTR. That's a simple question, but the answer is yes, okay? And guys, I say it all the time. There's no question too big, no question too small. So there's nothing wrong with asking that question, but it's a simple answer. The answer is yes. The way to do it properly, you may know this already because you said you've already added the clauses. There's 2 different ways to add clauses. What most people would do, and hopefully you haven't done this because I know you've done some of our coaching before, KTR, but what most people would do is they would just edit the contract. Do not edit the contract, okay? The reason you shouldn't edit the contract is because the contract is made to be how it is for a specific reason, especially when it's produced by someone like the NRLA. So what I'd advise you to do is download on the NRLA website. There'll be another document called the addendum document, okay? Which is an extra page or pages that you can now add to your contract, add to the end of your contract. Now, when you add those extra pages to the end of your contract, you can write any new clauses you want in them, as long as obviously they're signed by both parties in the end in order to say that they're agreed. So what I want you to do, KTR, is look at doing that. Now, here's a few spanners I'm going to throw out as well. One of the reasons why you would probably edit the contract, like most people would do, is because you might be trying to hide the additional terms from the people who are going to sign it. And you might be thinking, well, look, if it's in between all of these other clauses, they might not pick these things up. But what you have to understand is the best way to do business is actually transparently. So if you take this document from the NRLA and you add on the addendums, you are very clearly specifying the difference, the variation between that original document you've taken from that particular organization and what you're adding onto it. Now, that's going to create 2 things. One, it's going to create a whole level of clarity between you and the other organization you're doing business with. But secondarily, it's also going to create a whole level of clarity if you ever end up in a place like court and you need to basically present these documents. So I would advise you, if you can, rather than editing the contract, okay, if you, as long as it's not going to make you lose the deal, for example, rather than editing the contract, I would actually edit the addendum and add additional statements to the contract by working on the addendum. Hopefully that helps you, KTR. Let us know in the chat how many stars you give to the answer of your question, okay? And guys, if you're getting value, feel free to write the word value. Feel free to hit like if you haven't hit like already. Feel free to share the video with someone else. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And if you are thinking of subscribing, hit the bell notification so you can let the YouTube world know that you want to be notified every single time we go live, every single time we drop a video. Guys, let me ask you a question. I love you guys. You guys love me. I assume, I believe, I know. Let me just be real. I know you guys love me and I love you guys too. So let me ask you a question. Do you think we should produce more content on this channel? Like, I'm just interested, okay? So I'm asking this. This isn't something I plan to ask. I'm just asking, do you think we should produce more content on this channel? Now, if you believe what I just shared a moment ago before I answered KTR's question, no condition is permanent, 10 hours of Samuel is still not all of Samuel. Like, guys, do you think we should actually create more content on this channel? That's my question, okay? Just give me a full answer, like a full sentence in the live chat to answer the question. But I'm interested in the viewers. I don't want to just know what I think. I don't want to know what the Impact Properties team think. I don't want to know what me and my wife think. I want to know what you guys think as viewers of this content. Now, guys, look, I'm going to go even deeper, okay? Here's a little shameless plug. If you're interested, okay, in investing in any way, shape or form, supporting what we're doing, you can go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/studio build, and that will take you to our Amazon wish list where you can actually invest, buy, let me say buy, okay, buy something, one piece of equipment, two pieces of equipment, whatever's comfortable for you to show your appreciation. Now, one thing I want you to understand, our YouTube channel is not monetized. We don't make revenue from ads on our channel. This channel is basically just a passion, to be honest with you. It's just us saying, look, we want to give value to people, so we're doing this. So if you want to support the channel in some way, one of the ways is you can jump onto our Amazon wish list and you can buy something so that when we are finished with our content creation studio build, your item, usually the items are on our Amazon wish list are end user items. Your item will be something that you'll probably see being used on a regular basis when we do these live streams, or when we create video content. Maybe not as much when we create video content, because obviously when it's created, I might just be sitting at the desk like this. But in terms of the live streams, you guys will see a lot more, because the way we've designed the new content creation studio, you will see a lot more. You'll see a lot more of the surroundings, a lot more of what we're doing. The plan is to have 3 whiteboards up on the wall. And you guys know me, I like a whiteboard, I like working on my whiteboards for you guys, to give you guys more value, more content. In my current office right now, my whiteboard is over there. So I don't get to spend a lot of my time on my whiteboard. Those of you who are part of our 5-day property finance bootcamp, I was on the whiteboard breaking down stuff with mortgages, breaking down stuff with how to raise finance, etc., etc. So you guys know I really, really do like my whiteboards, okay? But again, guys, I'm just throwing it out there. Just let me know, okay? If you think it will be of value for you to support the channel, then feel free to do so. You can go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/studio build. That's impactproperties.co.uk/studio build. One more time for those people at the back. Let me go and get them on the camera. impactproperties.co.uk/studio build. And that will help you basically reconnect to our Amazon wish list and purchase something to say, Samuel, thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate you. Have whatever you decide to buy. So guys, that is that. Side by side with that, if you're interested in donating, feel free to donate. We have a link which I can't seem to find right now to throw on the screen, but you know what it is, guys. It's impactproperties.co.uk/donate. That's impactproperties.co.uk/donate. And for the people in the back, It's impactproperties.co.uk/donate. Okay, so I don't know what's happening with my man Atanas's comments, but it looks like he's got some loading bars playing around in the chat. I don't know what's up with that, guys. I don't know what's up with that. But let's keep going into the meat of tonight's session. KTR said there's a second part to the question. KTR, we got you. We're not running away. We got you. KTR says, then that means we have to remove their logo on the contract because of the changes we made. Ooh, question mark, question mark, question mark. Thank you, KTR. This is powerful. So KTR's second part of her question is powerful because it feeds into what I was saying as the first part of the question. Now, here's the answer to KTR's second part of the question simply. And KTR, hopefully you're going to give us how many stars when we give you this, and hopefully this will help you. So this is how it works. If you doctor the contract, if you change the contract and make the contract whatever you want to make the contract, i.e., like I said, the first example, start changing clauses, then yes, technically you shouldn't have the NRLA's logos on the contract. Excuse me. However, yes, Mrs. Ikhinmwin, I know the emojis, but I don't know. Oh, is it a loading emoji? Okay, let me know if it's a loading emoji. I knew it was emojis. I didn't know what emojis they were because they hadn't loaded up. But yeah, let's keep going. So KTR, if you do the first thing I was talking about, if you actually alter the contract and doctor the contract and make the contract whatever you want it to be, then yes, legally and technically, you probably should take the NRLA's logos and branding off of the contract. However, if on the other hand, you add your comments, as I mentioned, your clauses, as I mentioned, in the addendum documents, then no, you do not have to remove any of the branding. So hopefully that helps you, and hopefully that's insightful in terms of you understanding how you can move forward with that as well. All right, cool. Let's keep going. All right, I got a comment here from Nicola from FP Comms. She says, oh, I got so many powerful comments here. This guys, this just threw me all the way to the most recent comments. I just saw some real powerful stuff. Guys, thank you. Listen, let me say this to you guys. I love showing appreciation. Those of you who are rocking with us, you know, a lot of the time. I got Live Lounge in the chat as well. Live Lounge, great to have you here. I see you've got a question. I will be coming on to that question as well. We'll get there. We'll get there at some point. KTR says 10 stars. Thank you. Most welcome, KTR. You know we do this, so it's all good. But yeah, so guys, let me say this to you so you have this clear understanding. Okay, I forgot what I was gonna say. Let me just jump back into the chat. And it's funny because the next comment actually says not to distribute your flow, not to disturb your flow, Samuel. Actually, I just remembered what I was gonna say. Thank you, Lord. All right, cool. So let's jump into this. So the comment I was going to make, I was just going to basically say, guys, look, I want to share a lot of appreciation to you guys, okay? To you guys, you people who are watching right now, you, my family, my friends, my contacts, you know, my followers, you know, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever you see yourself as, like my students, my coaching clients, whatever. Guys, I appreciate you. And you know, obviously, you know I appreciate you. I got out of my way. I think every single live show, I share appreciation. But I want you to understand, I genuinely appreciate you. Now, the reason I appreciate you is because you don't have to be here right now. You don't have to be watching this stuff. You don't have to be improving your property journey. You could be watching reruns of EastEnders. You could be watching Coronation Street. You could be watching any other trash that's out there. But the point is, you say, you know, I know Samuel's going to give me value. I'm going to spend some time with Samuel. I'm going to hear what he's got to say. And listen, let me even go deeper. There are certain people who are on this stream who aren't even really interested in property. Property is not really their thing. Their whole thing is, well, if I'm ever wanting to get into property, I'll just talk to Samuel. And they still tune into this stuff. And that, like, I don't know how to even fathom in my mind how to appreciate those people. So guys, I appreciate you. Listen, I want to do more stuff on this channel, guys. Like, I'm not just talking about creating content. I want to do a lot more stuff. I want to do some more giveaways. We've done giveaways before, but I want to do some big giveaways. Guys, let me not even share, okay? Because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a CEO, I'm a visionary. If I start actually sharing with you guys some of the ideas that pop into my head that I would actually like to do on this channel, you guys will think I'm nuts, okay? Listen, you might think I'm not going to think you're nuts. Bro, listen, sister, listen, you'll think I'm nuts. I want to do some crazy things on this channel. But in fairness, you know, there's only so much crazy you can do with a very small audience. Obviously, we got roughly 380 subscribers on the channel at the time of this recording. Guys, I want you to understand, this is part of why I actually want this channel to grow as well, because it will make more sense when I say to someone, look, hey guys, we're giving £1,000 away today for anyone who can XYZ or whatever else. And that's not one of my ideas. I'm just using that as a random example so you understand what I'm talking about. So guys, I want to make this happen. Okay, I want to help you guys move further, faster in your property investing journey. And the way we do that is not just by answering questions, guys, actually by supporting people, by putting value in people's hands, by giving people things that they're not getting anywhere else. They're not getting on any other coaching programs. They're not getting with any other people. And that's what I want to do. So let's jump back in. Excuse that intermission. All right, let's go forward full force. So we got Nicola from FPCom. She says, not to disturb your flow, Samuel, but the accreditation is a form of pity. Whee! Come on, that's not disturbing my flow, sister. That's your thing. Come with your expertise. We love that and we need that. So Nicola, again, guys, some of you may not know, okay, and I plug Nicola every single time she jumps on the show because it's just real. Some of us need help with our PR. We need public relations help. Nicola is a public relations specialist. She has worked in the public relations industry for a number of years before she then span out and decided to create her own organization, which helps people develop their public relational offering. And I say those words specifically because when you really go into PR as a specialist, you're providing an offering, okay, and that's something a lot of people don't understand. So Nicola says here that actually taking on board accreditation, utilizing accreditation is actually a method of PR. It's a form of PR. And I think that's really, really powerful to think about. So Nicola, thank you for sharing it. She goes on to say it provides the know, like, and trust factor to your customers. And I totally agree with that. I think it's just so true. Like if you're in a space where you can say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to become Residential Landlord Association accredited. I'm going to become PRS, a member of the PRS Property Redress Scheme, Redress Scheme. I'm going to become a member of them. I'm going to become registered with this. I'm going to take this on. I'm going to get client money protection. What most people don't realize is every single one of those badges you add to your organization, you add to yourself, they add a level of credibility that you potentially couldn't add without. So you've got to think about it and then also think how you can use it, how you can, without being too rude, smother that in people's faces for them to understand, hold on a minute, this guy's really accredited. This woman's really accredited. We should do business with them. Check this out. Imagine you put out a piece of marketing, someone else puts out a piece of marketing, and your marketing has all these accreditations associated with it. Theirs doesn't. Who do you think they're going to holler at? I'm going to be honest. If everything else is equal in terms of the marketing, you've got the advantage. You got to think about that. So Nicola, thank you ever so much. Powerful comment. Appreciate that. I got my man in the chat. Atanas, he says 1 month free. Yeah, talking about story time. Yes, you're totally right. Atanas, that's what the guy wanted. He wanted 1 month free, which doesn't make sense. And we just gave him a rent increase. It's funny, like people don't realize this, but I'm just going to share this. Obviously, you guys won't know this. You got to come closer. You got to come closer. Come closer, guys. We've just recently issued that same person his second rent increase. Okay. Like I said, the first one was about a year and a half ago. We've just actually issued our second one. Okay. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because he's still paying on the 20 something of the month. All right. Hope that helps. So guys, this is the reality. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to put things in perspective where people understand, there's different ways to skin a cat. This is what they say. There are different ways to skin a cat. So boom, KTR says value in the chat. I got Live Lounge in the chat who says value. Thank you for your comments. Great to have you on the show. We got my man Callum Baloka. He says 5-star answer. Thank you, Callum Baloka. We appreciate you. We got FP Comms Nicola in the chat. She says thank you, Samuel. The answer was so helpful. You're welcome, Nicola. This is what we do. This is why we're here. And if we don't do it, who's gonna do it? Okay. You see, I was taught quite well, I think, when I was young by my dad to just be a leader. Like, there's nothing wrong with just doing something that no one else is doing, or just doing something that other people are doing because it's right to do. So guys, this is why we do what we do, and we want to keep on helping. We got Nicola from FPCom. She says Mrs. Ikhinmwin is the queen of your kingdom. I appreciate that, and trust me, I call her that. She knows the deal. So it is all well. All right, here's another question. I'm loving it. Ooh, interesting question. All right, so the question comes in from Live Lounge. Question is, what is the best term for a buy-to-let mortgage, 2 years or 5 years? Okay, question coming in from Live Lounge. What is the best term for a buy-to-let mortgage? Is it 2 years or 5 years? Guys, let me put it this way. It really depends on the rates you're getting. Okay, now rates are not the biggest thing, so I don't say it first to say it's the priority, but it really depends on the rate you're getting and also your strategy. Okay, so I'll give you an example. If you are going to buy a house, renovate that house, sell the house, okay, you don't really want to be on a 5-year mortgage. You don't want to be on a 5-year fixed mortgage term. Why do you want to have a 5-year fixed if you're going to flip that property? It doesn't make any sense. You'll probably get a cheaper interest rate if you go for a 2-year fixed, okay, with, you know, a fairly reasonable early closure fee. Okay, so you got to think about things like that. So my whole thing when I'm asked these questions about rates, and again, guys, if you're interested in connecting with a mortgage broker who can get you the mortgage product you need in order to move forward, let me know. Just send me a message. You can send a message to the team at info at impactproperties.co.uk. That's info at impactproperties.co.uk. But most of you guys know already. Email address, all the links, everything is in the description to the video. If you want to join our Facebook group, links in the description of the video. If you want to, whatever you want to do, guys, you want to find the link to the 21 days of your property investing success, links in the description of the video. Guys, we just throw everything in the links in the description of the video to help you guys move further faster. You don't have to take time and work this out. We got it all covered. So, you know, coming to Live Lounge's question, what is the best term for you to have on a mortgage? Is it a 2-year or 5-year fixed? It really depends on the strategy. Okay, what most people don't do is think backwards. Okay, you know, even when I say that, most people are going to be thinking, what did he just say? Think backwards? Like, you don't want to think backwards in life. Thinking backwards is wrong. No, guys, listen, thinking backwards is right. You see, I'm a big reader of the Bible. There's something in the Bible. It basically says, it's like a verse in the Bible. It says that God knows the end from the beginning. Now listen, let me tell you something. If God created everything and he knows the end from the beginning, that's a smart way to think. And that's basically the way I think, and that's the way I encourage people to think. Don't think about the right now. Don't think about, oh, you don't have 60k in your account to go and buy that 400k house, or to go and buy that, you know, 240k buy to let. Guys, listen, don't think like that. What you should be thinking is, what am I trying to achieve? X. What does it look like to achieve it? Y. How do I make that Y equal YOU, as in you? Okay, how do I make it happen? Okay, and that's why I get so much success as a coach with the coaching clients I have, with the students I have, because I take these complex ideas, I break them down, make them simple, and give them to you on a plate. And then it's like, oh, I get it now. I get it. And another thing we do a lot of the time, which a lot of people don't do, is we allow you to ask questions. And by asking questions, you put yourself in the best position to actually get answers that are relevant. That's a key word, relevant to you. Not just relevant to the industry, but relevant to you. So guys, I want you to think about that. All right, so Live Lounge, I hope I've answered your question. I think I have. It depends on your exit, depends on what you're planning to do. If you're flipping, you probably want a shorter period of time. Flipping means buying in order to sell fairly soon. If you're buying and holding, probably want a longer term. Why do you want a longer term if you're buying and holding? Because then you can lock in and fix the interest rate for a longer period of time. If you're doing buy, refurbish, refinance, and rent, okay, the BRRR strategy, as they call it in America, or the BRRR strategy, as they call it in the UK, which is basically used to just be called momentum investing. But the point is, if you're doing momentum investing, what you probably want to do is you probably want to ask yourself, what are your returns going to look like on your initial 5-year or 2-year, and what are your returns going to look like after you remortgage and pull out the majority or all of your money on that deal? So Live Lounge, let me know in the chat how many stars you give to the answer to your question. Is that 5-star, 4-star, 42-star, 101 star? You tell me, and we'll keep it moving. We got KTR in the chat. She says, thank you, Mrs. Ikhinmwin. We got Callum Baloka in the chat. Thank you, Mrs. Ikhinmwin, for making this show as good as it is. We appreciate you. We got Live Lounge in the chat. Big up, Mrs. Ikhinmwin. Mrs. Ikhinmwin is getting the love today. All right, my man Atinas asked the question, are you a good commercial to resi investor? Question mark. What is a good strategy anyway? It depends on personal circumstances, in his honest opinion. And I think Atinas is... Atanas is asking rhetorical questions, I believe. Atanas, if I'm right, just write the letter R in the chat, please. Just to let me know that you're asking a rhetorical question. But you see, what Atanas is talking about here is quite powerful. I believe Atanas threw this in when I was answering Gavin's question. Yep, Atanas throws an R in the chat, so he's being rhetorical. But, you know, when Gavin asked the question earlier about commercial to residential, is it a good strategy, etc., etc. You see, I think Atanas has got a good point. Like, sometimes what we do is we focus on the wrong aspect of the right thing. Okay, and I learned this at the age of 19. I heard someone say this really powerfully. It was a coach, and he just basically said, look, don't major on minors and don't minor on majors. Now, when you hear that as a young person, again, most of the things I heard as a young person, I didn't really understand what was being said to me. And even now, as a more mature adult, I'm still learning, I'm still relearning some of the things I was told years ago, over 15, 20 years ago. I'm still regurgitating them in my mind sometimes, and I'm revisiting them, and I'm saying, oh, how does that actually apply in life generally, but then in this specific context specifically? So again, another principle my dad used to say to me all the time. My dad used to say to me, this wasn't something he used to say to me when I was really young. This was something he started saying to me more so since I've been adult, since I've been married. He always says to me, you know what, Samuel, in life you need to do initial assessment, but then after you do initial assessment, you do continual assessment. Okay. Now look, let me put it this way. You see, some of you who tune into the live stream, you know what you're doing? The first time you tune in, you're doing an initial assessment. Is this really for me? Is this guy sharing answers that are relevant to me? Is this helpful for me? Can I get value from this? Etc. etc. That's what we call initial assessment. But then what happens is, again, you might see, you know, a post or an ad, or you might see someone share this with you and say to yourself, oh, I'm going to tune into the live show again. I'm going to go and be a part of the impact show. I want to see what Samuel's talking about tonight. I want to see what news articles he's breaking down tonight. I want to just support Samuel, as some people have said in the past. Whatever it is, you jump onto the stream. Now, the funniest thing about some of you that just jump onto the stream is, what you have to understand is you're now making what we call continual assessment. You're now gone from initial assessment to making continual assessment. Okay, what was it that Samuel broke down there? How does it apply to me? Is that of value to me? Is that, you know, something I can go and use right now? Or is that something I might be able to use in the future? So coming back to Atanas's statements, you know, are you a good commercial to residential investor? What is a good strategy anyway? It depends on personal circumstances, in his honest opinion. I think that there's some relevant sound points for us all to think about, regardless of whether we're talking about commercial to resi, whether we're talking about rent to rent, whether we're talking about lease options, whether we're talking about service apartments, whether we're talking about HMOs, whether we're talking about buy, refurbish, refinance, whatever we're talking about. At the end of the day, I was going to go 100 miles per hour, but I thought, you know what, let me slow it down, because I know we got a live audience. But at the end of the day, it don't matter what strategy you're doing. The reality is you need to understand how to do the strategy properly, because if you can do the strategy properly, what happens is you end up with returns that the people who are doing the strategy are not even getting. And I can attest to that so many times. I've got students who are doing strategies I'm not even doing. Okay, but because I've said to them, look, this is the central tenets of investment. These are the core things you need to think about as you go into that strategy. When they start employing that strategy, I might say to them, tweak this in order to apply the central tenets, the central principles of investing. And you'll see they'll come back and be like, look, Samuel, I'm getting this kind of return. And I'm like, wow, how did you do that? I just did what you said. Okay, so guys, I want you to understand this. It's really that powerful. It's really that deep. It's really that powerful that sometimes all we need to do is understand the central tenets. And I think Atanas asked a really powerful question. You know, what is a good commercial to residential deal anyway? Okay, it's going to depend on what you're looking for. What is a good strategy anyway? It's going to depend on what you're looking for, what you're trying to achieve, what you're doing, etc., etc., etc. So again, Atanas, thank you for your comments in the chat. Okay, we got Mrs. Ikhinmwin in the chat. She's dancing, guys. I love it. Throwing up some hearts. Mrs. Ikhinmwin, you got to slow this down, because I might just have to end the stream. She says, we thank God. Trust me, we definitely do. We do that daily. All right, so KTR said earlier, and again, this is in comparison, in conjunction with the answer that I gave earlier for Gavin's question. Very powerful comment. She says, I saw one today, commercial building that seemed abandoned is in a residential area in East London. KTR, send me the address. Gavin says, all value. Love that. Thank you, GW, for your comment. He also goes on to say, thanks. Most welcome, bro. You know what we do. FP Comms, we have Nicola who says, preach. Listen, that's what we do out here in a different way. Live Lounge, ask a question. Okay, I get it. Live Lounge has just re-asked the question with a Q. Thank you ever so much, Live Lounge. Hopefully we answered that question already. That was the question we answered a little while ago. Last question I think we really actually answered. What is the best term for a buy-to-let mortgage? 2 or 5 years. I do try to go back in the chat, guys. So thank you again for helping me out. Gavin saying to everyone who is serious should listen to the 21 days amazing value. Thank you, Gavin. I appreciate that. Atana says in the chat, editing the contract, gang checking in. Yeah, guys, look, a lot of people do that, guys. A lot of people do that. I want you to understand, a lot of people do that. Those loading bars, I don't know. Is that a song? Is that a song that you're referring to, Atanas? I don't know. But look, the point is, a lot of people do that, guys. A lot of people edit contracts without actually realizing that maybe I should leave the contract and just put in an addendum. But again, when you don't know, you don't know. And I tell people this all the time. I heard this from Simon Zucci. Simon Zucci said this to me probably in 2015. He said, you know, what you don't know, you don't know. And that's the problem. So many people don't know what they don't know. So because they don't know what they don't know, they don't know. So let's keep going. Someone else is going to sort out that conundrum. KTR said there's a second part. Hopefully we touched that second part. I'm sure we did. All these comments are coming in like fire. Okay, I got Nicola from FP Comms in the chat. She says something really, really powerful. She says, you are planting seeds. Some will land on fertile soil and some will land on sand. Those that invest and nurture the soil, they will grow. It takes more than 3 sessions to grow strong businesses. Thank you ever so much, Nicola. I agree with you, and I know you know I agree with you. Both myself and Nicola, most people will not know this, but again, I'm just going to share this with you. Both myself and Nicola are we're both leadership members of a organization which specializes in helping businesses move forward. And this is kind of, it's not, I don't think it's how I met Nicola. I don't think it's how we met. We actually met outside of that group. But I think in that group, one of the things we've both seen is people be able to flourish, but a lot of that comes from the stuff I've spoken about earlier on in the session. Like, if you want to be serious about your development and your growth, sometimes you just got to take steps. You got to take steps other people aren't willing to take. You've got to find your coach. You've got to find your mentor. You got to find your niche. You've got to find your area. You've got to find the expertise. You've got to find the value you bring. There's so many things to find. And look, let me just be real with you guys, because some people are not even going to understand what I'm about to break down, but please pick up what I'm putting down so you can move forward and further faster in your property investing journey. You see, I got told when I was 19 years old, why take 70 years to learn what you can learn in 7 hours by reading a book that was written by someone who took 70 years to be able to write it? Now, when you understand that maths, you know, you're fixed for life. You're fixed for life, guys. Let me say that again. When you understand the maths that I just broke down, you are fixed for life. Listen, Pythagoras' theorem doesn't fix you the way that fixes you. Let me tell you something else. Trigonometry doesn't fix you the way that fixes you. Listen, let me tell you something else. You know, cutting up a cadaver, okay? Some people aren't going to know what I'm talking about, but there's a few people who are watching this who are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. You see, working on a cadaver is not going to fix you the way that statement, if you understand it, will fix you, okay? Why take 70 years to learn what you can learn in 7 hours by reading the book, by going on the online program that someone had to take 70 years to be able to create, okay? So when I sit down for hours and create a 3-hour audio program known as 101 Property Sourcing Secrets, let me tell you something, guys. That 101 secrets that I throw out, I spit out because I do stuff like this. I love creating content for the community. That is not 3 hours of learning. That's way beyond 3 hours of learning. That might be 30 years. That might be 300 years of learning. Because the books that I've read, because the deals that I've done, because the coaches I've brought into my life, because the transactions I've been able to look over my coach's shoulders, because of the transactions I've been able to have coaches looking over my shoulders, because of the peers that I have in property. You know, guys, I know people that have bought a whole street of properties. You see, in 2017, I remember it like it was yesterday. In 2017, I took all my 12-month coaching clients, all of them. We jumped in a minibus. I did a Facebook Live open Q&A as I drove from London all the way to Stoke-on-Trent to meet a friend of mine, one of my property peers who had bought a whole street of property. just to show my coaching clients this is what is possible. Not only to show them what's possible, for them to connect with my peer and speak to him about his business and the differences in what he does and what I do and all of those things. Guys, why did I do that? Why was I doing that 3-4 years ago? I've been doing this stuff for years, guys, because I used to work in education. I used to work in schools, and I used to see them do trips to the National History Museum and do trips to the National Gallery and do trips to the National Science Museum. Let me tell you something, guys. Listen, those trips are valuable when you're a child. Okay, but what are the trips that are valuable when you're an adult? You see, going and sitting in the English classroom is valuable when you're a child, but what is the proverbial classroom for you when you are an adult? You see, some of us don't even resonate with that sometimes. You see, this is episode 53, guys. We've been doing this back to back every single week, every single Saturday for a whole year, for 52 weeks flat. This is episode 53, guys. I hope you understand why I don't want to just jump on here and read some news to you guys again. Yes, I know the show's giving you value, but you know what? Let me tell you something. Let me really level with you guys. Nicola, you've lit a fire here today. You see, guys, what you need to understand is for you to really achieve phenomenal results, you need to create a phenomenal environment. A phenomenal environment does not look like passively doing property. Okay. I've got a specific coaching client. She comes to mind every single time I talk about this. This woman already had a multi-million-pound portfolio before she met me. She heard me break down one principle and said, I need this gentleman to coach me. She already had a multi-million-pound property portfolio. Let me tell you something. She's not the only coaching client I've had like that. But why does she always resonate with me? She resonates with me because of how quickly she made the decision when she recognized she could do with the help. And it is not a surprise to me, even though it was at the time it happened, but it is not a surprise to me now I look back with hindsight why when her program ended with us, she just renewed and renewed. Because she realized, you know what, if I can get these results working with Samuel for this amount of time, imagine if I continue to work with him for that amount of time times 2 or that amount of times times 3. And guys, I want you to understand that investing in yourself to that degree is what really makes the difference for you. Okay, so if you're watching this on the replay, I'm interested in your comments. What do you think about investing in yourself? Do you think investing in yourself is important? If you're one of my family, you're with me here on the live, you're the part of the live family, let me know, guys. Let me know in the chat, like, sincerely, what do you think about investing in yourself? Is it important? Like, do you think it's of value? Do you think that it's worth it? Let me tell you something. In 2015, 2016, when I paid £20,000 to go and be a part of the Simon Zucci Property Mastermind program, to sit in a room with 60 other people, all focused on how to make as much money as possible in a 12-month period together. Excuse me. Guys, let me tell you something. Like, I didn't do that because I thought, oh yeah, like I got 18 grand, I got 18k plus VAT to spend. Guys, I didn't do it because of that. I didn't do it because of that. I did it because I understood that investing in myself is the most valuable asset in my whole ecosystem of my life. And it doesn't surprise me that that same year I was able to buy a property with £100,000 of a discount. So someone's going to ask me, oh, Samuel, was it worth it? Paying 20 grand to go on a coaching program, paying 20 grand to work with some investors for 12 months. Listen, £20,000 times 5 is £100,000. If you add £100,000 to your net worth in a 12-month period, and you can connect that to a £20,000 investment, guys, come on. You'd spend that £20,000 today. You'd spend it yesterday. But that's the thing. A lot of us, we can't see further enough to understand the value a lot of the time. And sometimes we just need to understand, like, look, this is worth it. This is worth it. Guys, how did I get to this space? Let me share that with you as well. Story time. How did I get to this space? This ain't a long story. It's a short story, real short story. Really just a principle, not even a story. But let me share this with you. I'm going to tell you how I got to this space where I started to understand that I needed to invest in myself. It was because I had studied 4 degrees. Okay, it's just that simple, guys. I could convolute it. I could make it more complicated. I could make it sound more extreme, more complicated and funny. And guys, it's just that simple. I studied 4 degrees, guys. My first degree was an undergraduate degree in computing and statistics. I didn't have to pay for that degree because at the time the government would pay your tuition fees and you just pay back the student loan for the maintenance, like the extra money they give you to do what you want to do. When I finished my first degree, my undergraduate degree in computing and statistics, I went on to go and study a master's in statistics. And I spent the time studying this master's in statistics. That never usually happens. And whilst I studied that master's in statistics, the funniest thing that happened was I went into the program paying for the program. I think the program was $6,500 at the time. So I joined the program paying for the program. I was paying myself out of my own pocket. When I was 3 months, call it 6 months, call it 7 months. You guys can work it out. Tell me how many months it is in the chat. So I joined the program in October, and in the January of the next year, one of my colleagues, he was a graduate from Cambridge, Ben Cocker. And again, Ben, if you're watching this, if you ever watch this, I appreciate you. You were instrumental in helping me change my mindset about 2 very powerful concepts. And those 2 very powerful concepts radically changed my life that year. And many people won't know this, but guys, I give honor where honor's due. There's so many people that have poured into my life in different ways, not always coaches, sometimes just friends, but I remember them. And the reason I remember them is because I take notes. This is why I always tell you guys, get your pen, get your iPad, get your tablet. So Ben helped me in 2 massive ways whilst we were on that program, that master's in statistics. But this is one of the ways I'm going to share with you. The university, and again, sometimes, guys, our mindset, guys, I'm telling you, our mindset needs to be attacked sometimes, because sometimes our mindset is the only thing holding us back. So Ben shares with me, he basically says to me, "Oh, Samuel, you know that they're running a scholarship at UCL for people who are on our master's program and 3 other master's programs, and I think you should apply." And Ben was doing the master's in statistics part-time, so he couldn't apply. I was doing the master's in statistics full-time, so I could apply. So he said to me, "Did you hear about the master's scholarship program?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Okay, have you applied?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Why don't you apply?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to apply. There's no point." Like, those people who are like, "I don't ever win anything, so there's no point in even applying." So I was kind of in that space. I was kind of like, there's no point in applying. Like, why am I going to apply? There's people like Ben who are graduates from Cambridge who now go to UCL with us, who if they apply, I assume they're going to win. Like, why am I going to apply? I didn't graduate from Cambridge. I didn't graduate from Oxford University to go to UCL. And Ben says something to me so powerful. And it's something that always resonates with me when I think about investing in myself. Ben says to me, "Samuel, you've got nothing to lose." He said, "What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is they can say no. And financially, you're basically in the same position you're in now, whatever that may be. But if they say yes, then you've gained something. So you've got nothing to lose, but something to gain." Okay. And it was because Ben said that I applied for the scholarship, and I actually got the scholarship. And I remember the day they were running the interviews for the scholarship, sitting in the waiting room, seeing other people who are on my master's in statistics go into the interview room and thinking about their pedigree as students, thinking about the universities they qualified from, thinking about the level of output and work they've done. Listen, guys, I'm an intelligent person. I got some great grades whilst I was at university, both undergraduate, etc., etc. But I'm telling you, when you compare yourself with other people, sometimes you will write yourself off before you've started your journey. And so many people do that. So many people are like, "Oh yeah, look, what has he done? What has she done?" Rather than, again, coming back to some of the comments Atanas was making a moment ago, sometimes we don't actually realize, listen, I shouldn't be asking myself, what has he done? What has she done? Like, to be honest, it doesn't even matter. What matters is, what have I done? What matters is, what am I going to do? What matters is how much damage I can create in this property sector for me and my generations, because it's about my generational wealth. And a lot of people don't think like that. So Ben said those words. Ben said those simple words, you've got nothing to lose. I think you should apply. And I applied and I won. I got the scholarship, and they ended up paying for, the $6,500 plus. I can't remember how much the scholarship was. It might have been something like 12 grand. But again, the university ended up paying the scholarship as a direct byproduct. I walked away with funds that I wouldn't have had otherwise if I didn't apply. So guys, what that taught me, let me give you the big banner lesson that I took away from that. What that taught me is, have I got anything really to lose? Okay. Now, I learned young, money comes, money goes. Knowledge at the right time is priceless. I want you to write that down, okay? Because that's a very powerful concept. Knowledge at the right time is priceless. Let me give you another thing that at the right time is priceless. Access at the right time is priceless. There's some guys, who are tuned into this. Guys, I'm talking to the guys, the men right now. There are some guys who are tuned into this who maybe met a gal, met a woman at a certain time in their life and thought to themselves, you know what, this could be the one. This could be the one I could spend the rest of my life with. And maybe they didn't get access at that time, and as a result, it never happened. Okay. Or maybe they did get access at that time, and as a result, they're now married to, the wife of their dreams. The point I'm making is access at the right time. Okay. Access at the right time. Having the person say, yeah, I'll let you in. Yeah, you can be on this at the right time makes a massive difference. Okay, because there are people who, I've been in predicaments. Again, some people will connect to know what I'm talking about. I've been in predicaments where people have said, look, Samuel, I want to be on your program. Okay, this is what it costs. Okay, it's too expensive. I'll come back later when I've got the money. Okay, they've got the money. They come back. The price has gone up. Why? Because we got better results with other people. So we're justified in increasing our price. Let me tell you something, guys. Virgin increased their price every single year on your mobile phone contracts. Okay, I don't even know why I'm plugging Virgin, because I left them. I left them partly because of that. But that's the reality. It happens, guys. Every single year, people are increasing their price. Why? Because their overheads are going up. Their business revenues maybe are going up. They're becoming more oversubscribed with people that need them, want them, and want to work with them. Okay. But even side by side with all of that, some people are actually producing better results, showing them that, look, I'm charging too little for this stuff. I need to double my price. I've got coaches. I think it was, who was it? There might be someone on the stream. I can't remember. But I was speaking to someone recently, and they told me, yeah, this is the price I'm charging for XYZ. I said, no, what you need to do is double the price, then take the original price that you had, cut that in half, and add that on top of the doubled price. And then you need to go and flow. And I get told that by coaches, which is why I'm telling you this, guys. So I want you to understand that, guys, sometimes, adding value, investing in yourself is more important than a whole bunch of other stuff. So with that being said, that's the value I wanted to share with you guys in terms of the story. Let's get back to the show. So I'm just going to finish up Nicola's comment. Then from there, I'll run through, see if there's any other questions. Guys, I hope you're getting value on the show. If you are getting value, write the word value. Let me know that you are enjoying tonight's show. Again, it's a slightly different show to usual, but again, guys, we're here for you. Want to give you that value. Nicholas says, your planted seeds, some will land on fertile soil and some will land on sand. Excuse me. Those that invest and nurture the soil, they will grow. It takes more than 3 sessions to grow serious and strong businesses. Thank you for sharing that, Nicola. Powerful comments. Nicola says she shared the video. Mrs. Ikhinmwin says that's emojis that Atanas has put in. She believes, yeah, I believe they're loading emojis. Powerful. KTR says 10 stars. Thank you, KTR. You're welcome. Always a pleasure to work with you, and I appreciate the fact that you show so much gratitude as well. That's part of the reason why I really like working with you. So keep doing what you're doing, and keep growing. I just want to see you have even more success. I want to see you have even more success in your property journey. So keep going. All right, Rose Mitchell shows up. Always nice comments from you, Rose. I really appreciate you. You make streaming, you make me adding value to the community a really pleasant experience. So I just want to say thank you for that. Rose says, thanks for your time as always. Most welcome, Rose. We appreciate you. Gavin says, what's your opinion on Clubhouse, real deal or fad? I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's a bit of both. I think that Clubhouse, I don't know if you guys have seen the most recent article about Clubhouse had a lot of data actually leaked recently. Now that's bound to happen because it's actually come out and been quite strong, rivaling with the YouTubes, rivaling with the TikToks. It's moved like a Snapchat or like a TikTok kind of app, in the sense that it's getting a lot of good big traction very early, and part of that is to do with their PR that they played at the beginning. Again, hashtag Nicola FP Comms, and then also part of that was due to their smart marketing and their strategic outlay of what they were going to do with that as an app. So what I would say to you is, personally, I think Clubhouse will be around for quite a while. I think what they're offering is semi-unique in the marketplace. To give people an opportunity to audibly engage, I think is very, very powerful. I think so many human beings underestimate the value and power that people desire and are interested in terms of the audio message. Even this, look, what people don't understand is that 50% of video, people say, is audio. Okay, now I'm going to say to you that I believe 80% of video is audio. Okay, now you might not believe me, but again, this is just my own personal conviction. This is why I use a professional microphone when I live stream. This is why my wife will tell you I own more than 10 microphones. Okay, I personally own more than 10 microphones. Why? Okay, I'm only using one for this show, but I'm telling you, I personally own more than 10 microphones. Why is that? Because I believe that the highest priority when you deliver content is actually audio, because the delivery of your content 9 times out of 10 is going to be about your words. And why do I have this ideology? I have this ideology again because I'm a strong reader in the Bible, and the Bible talks a lot about words and the power of words and the power of the voice, etc., and sound. So because of that, I believe that audio is way more powerful than video, which is why when you couple them together and have what we have here, this kind of live environment, this becomes extremely powerful, because you're taking the very powerful incubator of audio and marrying it with another powerful medium of video. Okay, now why do I believe that audio is 80% of video? The reason I believe it is because usually we break things down in terms of the 80-20 principle, which is more important. And I can tell you this, if you tuned into this show and we had sketchy video, let's say I was using my phone in order to stream, which you can do and I can do. If my phone was my main camera to stream and you had sketchy video, but we had clear, crisp audio, you'd probably still stay on. You are more likely to keep engaging with this content than if we had poor audio and crisp video. Okay, so I want you to think about that. And if you think about that, that should also help you understand, okay, they're not a 50-50 match. So as a byproduct of that, although we don't see it like that because we see visually and we are engaged and intoxicated visually heavily, a lot of people are going to assume, no, you need video content these days. But I actually think Clubhouse is going to have a good run. That's my view. I think Clubhouse is going to bring a lot of value. I think it already has. I'm not on Clubhouse because I'm not an Apple user. I stopped using iPhones a number of years ago. The only Apple device I now keep is one of my iPads. But yeah, I just transitioned out of the Apple ecosystem a number of years ago, and I haven't seen the value enough in Clubhouse to go over there or to get a second iPhone or another iPhone, a second phone as an iPhone, which is what I'm trying to say. So do I think it's a real deal or a fad? I think it is a semi-real deal, but I think they're using fad marketing to blow it up. So when the dust does settle, it might not be as big as people are acting like it's going to be, but I think it's here to stay. And what's my opinion on it? Well, I haven't really been on it, so I can't really give a justified opinion. But yeah, it's Clubhouse, check it out. And if anyone wants to buy me an iPhone just so I can be on Clubhouse, I've had several of my property friends say, Samuel, you need to be on Clubhouse. You are an awesome speaker. You will just add so much value. Guys, if someone here on our YouTube community thinks that should happen, give me your old iPhone, buy me an iPhone, do what you got to do and get me on Clubhouse if you think that will be of value. Also, my man Atanas says world star in terms of the answer to the questions. Thank you, Atanas. We appreciate you. We got Atanas clapping hands. We got Atanas saying it's just an emoji. And he says loading/editing. Okay, we see it and I love it. Atanas goes on to say, landlord doesn't know, you don't know. Whoever don't know more stuff loses. Good vibes. I agree with that. I agree with that totally. When it is the negotiation between you and a seller or you and a landlord, the person who doesn't know the most is the person who loses the most. Nicola from FBCom, she says that trip example gave me an aha moment. Value, value, value. Most welcome, sis. This is what we do. This is why I'm here. I think this is the last comment that came through. KTR says, you mentioned adding the National Residential Landlord Association logo, etc. on landlord letters. What else would you recommend to add on those letters to be outstanding compared to other letters? Okay, I'm going to say something, okay, and it's my way out of the show. So this is the last question I'm going to be answering for tonight's show, I believe. But basically, one of the other things I will tell you to add to your landlord letters is a digital element, all right? Add a cousin to your letter. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't have enough time to really break that down on the show. So if you do want to know about that, you're going to have to jump onto our 7-module online training program. It's on our 7-module online training program where we actually break down different methodologies of marketing. And for those of you who are with us on our 12-month coaching program, that's where we really deep dive into what I'm speaking about to KTR in terms of really transitioning and really thinking about really connecting / looking at how you can specifically put yourself in a position where you've got a resource in an online aspect of that marketing to the same people. Okay, that's the keywords, to the same people, okay, that you are actually sending the landlord letters to. So hopefully that is of value and that helps you also. Now, guys, for those of you who do not know, our key resource for today's show, episode 53, link in the description. Go and book a discovery call. Book a discovery call with me so you can find out if one of our coaching programs are a right fit for you to move further faster in your property investing journey, whether it's our online program, whether it's our 12-month program, etc. Now, if the link is not in the description of the video right now for this discovery call, you can go to episode 52 and go and book a call there. Connect with Samuel is what it will say, and it will have a link which will say something like recession proof business. But that's one of the quick ways you can book a call with me. Guys, I hope you've got value on this stream. I know you've got value on this stream, but I hope you've got value on this stream. What I want you to do is hit that like button one more time if you haven't hit it already. Side by side with that, why don't you go and press the subscribe button? For those of you who don't know, right here below that phone is a blue icon which says subscribe. If you hit that blue icon right there, you will be subscribed to our channel. It's that simple. It doesn't take long. So go hit that subscribe button, go get connected, go become a part of our community in a real way, and make sure that you allow yourself to move further faster as it pertains to your property investing journey. Let me see in the comments, guys, what's one big takeaway you've had from tonight's live stream. Now, with all of that being said, I want to also encourage you, if you haven't already, go and watch this video right here, how to invest in property for 2021 and beyond. In this video, it's a short video, it's about 8 minutes long. I break down the central tenets that you should be thinking about in order for you to move further faster as it pertains to investing in property. Guys, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This video is going to help you in terms of your property investing journey. So it's that time of the show. I'm going to love you and leave you. Samuel Ikhinmwin signing out, episode 53. Happy investing.